It's a 396 engine, and supposedly this motor has been sitting for 35 years without ever being started. Supposedly it was rebuilt about 35 years ago, but was never run. I just have a few questions. This cylinder here doesn't look very good. I don't know if you guys can see that, but see if I can get some light in there. I don't know. There was a lot of surface rust and corrosion in there. I mean, this thing sat with no plugs in it. It had the heads on it, but they were barely torqued on. I don't know if you can see that. Does that look like it could be cleaned up with a hone, or does it look like something that may need to be bored? The pistons are definitely going to have to be cleaned up, but that's the worst cylinder. Another question I have is, I don't know if you guys can see that, there's a 10 stamped on the top of that piston. It looks like a 10 to me. I don't know if that means this is 10 over. Never heard of a 10 over motor, but God, I can't see that, but right there, there's a 1 and a 0. Any of you guys out there with experience rebuilding motors, I don't know if that means 10 over or not, because I want to make sure I know what I have here before I get any parts for this thing. There's the heads. Close, just a 66 396, 325 horse originally. Closed chamber heads, 702 heads. Alright, here's the other side. Now all the pistons, that piston is different. That's another question I have. All these pistons, looks like that one was replaced, but it's different than the other ones. But it looks like the dome on it is about the same height, but I don't know if that's right or not. So maybe somebody can answer that for me. But yeah, all the pistons are the same except for that one cylinder. I don't know if that's a replacement piston, if it matters, if the compression ratio would be the same with that piston or what. Because if these are the original pistons with those heads, it's a 10 1/4 to 1 motor. 10 1/4 to 1 compression, so it turns over good though. Let me show you guys that. If I think of any other questions while I'm doing that. It turns over pretty good for a motor that has been sitting for 35 years. But I put a little oil in each cylinder. But I don't want to turn it over too much, you know. But again, this one cylinder, I don't know. Anybody out there? I mean, I rebuilt a couple big blocks and they're still running. Got a 454 in my Nova, but it's been many years since I tore into one of these, and I just figured I would post this on the forum for anybody who might have any tips for me about those couple of questions that I asked. And if I do get this running, I'm just going to keep it stock 396 with 325 horse. That's good enough for me. Yeah, so those couple of questions I have. I don't know if that piston, does it look like it could be cleaned up? It's got some surface rust in the cylinder and on the piston. I'm probably going to have to remove the crank and the pistons. But I wanted to just power wash the block. Here's a question I have. Is it okay to power wash a block with the crank and pistons and camshaft still in it? Would it be okay to blast everything with water as long as I blow it all out and make sure water is not in it afterwards, or is that a no-no? It's gonna need new lifters probably, because this one's collapsed. Probably can get the heads done. pretty much how they look. Probably see this one better. This the heck that came off this side. This one cylinder, it had some rust in it. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I can think of right now as far as questions I have for this thing. I haven't taken the oil pan off yet. I'll probably do that before I decide if I'm gonna take the crank and the pistons out, because if I take all that out, then I probably have to get new bearings, because I don't think you're supposed to reuse bearings after you take the caps and the rods off. But probably be a smart thing to do anyways if this motor has been sitting for 35 years. And if I do that, I'll have to ship it to the machine shop to make sure there's no cracks in it. But so yeah, anybody wants to give me any tips on that, be appreciated. So all right.